Planning Commission.
Sorry.
I'm done.
Okay. Okay. Roll call. Erica Houston? Here. Ms. Lee West? Here. Mr. Owen Schoenbeck?
Here.
Mark Davis?
Here.
Terry Bowles?
Here.
Dr. Romero?
Here.
Mr. Don Hanson?
Here. Shall we start with the pledge? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Do we have any people here to speak during the open forum?
No.
All right, let's get right to new business. Do we have meeting minutes from the last meeting?
They were.
Well, that's short and sweet. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Mr. Mark Moran.
Yes, sir.
Please make your presentation. I have one question to ask you before you start. And that is, what are your expectations of this meeting?
To hopefully answer any questions that the board may have, aside from introducing ourselves, introducing the project itself. Like to kind of get some feedback from the board, from the city, see what the thoughts are. Obviously, we have our preliminary phase, I guess you'll look at it that way, but at the same time, we kind of want to see what the city was thinking. So I think our goals for today is introduce ourselves, answer any questions that you may have to best our ability, considering what stage we're in. And that's it. We'll get us to the next stage, whatever that step may be in accordance to the city.
Please make your presentation.
All right, okay. Well, not too much of a presentation. I guess for us going to come by, like I mentioned, introduce ourselves. My name is Mark. I'm Mark Moran with Ursa Holdings. I'm the principal of the company, the project manager for the project. The individual with me today is Mr. Luis Mendez. He's with Sames Engineering, which is the engineering firm that we'll be using at this time out of McAllen. So the property, of course, we know which one we're talking about, that big 55-acre tract that's been there for some time. We're excited to be able to contract it, close on it. We do have some big plans. We've been working on our design for some time. We've reached out to some of the city, just to kind of try to get some feedback as we're planning, what the goals are for the 55 acres. We are keeping the economics in consideration, but at the same time, we're very much open to hear what the city has to say and see how we can somewhat incorporate what the city stands for within our I guess, called project. As of right now, we're looking at about 129 residential homes. That's what we have at this time, 61 townhomes. So we're looking to gate the subdivision and have a gated subdivision within the gated subdivision being the townhomes. We do have approximately 5.75 acres for commercial, which is going to be on the, in this case would be the
100.
Yeah, on 100, but on the, I guess, northwest corner next to Mesquite. We're looking at about 5.75 acres approximately that we're looking to zone for commercial. And then we do have right under 5 acres, right in the corner of 100 and 510, that, and we have it right now under multifamily, but we're definitely open at this point to hopefully pin down exactly what we're gonna do with that acreage. We're thinking multifamily, it's not set, obviously that's what we're proposing in our preliminary, and then we're looking to hopefully be able to circle back. Price point, we're still working on kind of getting a better understanding of what would be a good product for us there. Lot sizes are gonna be approximately 60 by about 130, give or take. There's gonna be some slightly larger lots, and of course, some that are smaller. So we're anticipating maybe the average household square footage would be maybe about 1,800 square feet. Could be bigger, could be smaller. Again, we're still in the process of trying to figure that out. We're not builders. What we're doing is developing the project. So as of right now, our goal is to open it up to all builders, or I should say, the public. Anybody who's interested in purchasing the lot. At this point, we're looking to let them pick their own or choose their own builder. Not to say that we won't work with any builders. Of course, we like to work with builders. That's like what we like to do in all our projects. But at this time, we haven't reached out to any. That is something that after this meeting, depending on what comes out of the meeting, what comes out of maybe the meeting with the engineer, then after that, we would have I guess another sit down on our end and kind of see what would be the best thing to do and where we can make some changes. Myself, the other 3 partners, we are, I should say, we also want to have our own home. We also have home in South Padre Island. So we also want to have residents in there. So we're definitely wanting to make sure that we bring a good product. Because we're also going to be investing, I guess you can say, within our own project.
If you are considering opening this to the public to bring in their own builder, how are you going to maintain a degree of continuity with that?
So we would have our CCRs, anytime that we do any subdivisions that are gated, we're going to be doing our covenants and restrictions. And within our covenants and restrictions, then we'll be able to have a more say-so on what can and cannot be done. I'm assuming that you're talking about the elevation of the home. Is that what we're talking about?
Well,
Oh.
that kind of thing is covered by the zoning ordinance.
Okay,
But I'm looking or is asking more from an aesthetic point of view.
okay. Yeah, so that would definitely be in the CCRs and the covenants and restrictions.
Mark, we're getting you that list of the builders you requested. We're still working on putting that list of
Oh,
builders.
okay,
that are-
perfect. Yeah, so I would like to meet as many builders that have shown some interest or that have worked or have built within the city. I'd like to reach out to every single one and see if there's any interest. So definitely that's one of our to do. As you can say. Any questions?
Has the water district seen these plans?
Yes, the water district has, in fact, in our previous meeting, that what was it last week? The week before? The Laguna Vista Water District was already, they had already reviewed it. They already had some questions for them. So they're working really close with, of course, also with Sims Engineering.
Y'all gonna be able to use the lift station I just built over on 100 by the wildlife place?
Yes, sir. That's the way I'm understanding it. That is correct.
So you'll have to bore under 100 to get to it.
Yeah, we're still working on the design process with Laguna Vista Water District. Apparently, we're trying to loop all the water and the sanitary sewer, combining it with the lift station located in what's called the main
Yeah.
road. So that's approximately what it's gonna be done.
Do you have written verification of the water district being able to provide both water and sanitary facilities?
The answer is we have all the letters already in place, but I'll let you answer that.
Yes, we're actually working on that. Since everything we have it set on preliminary, we barely got the first comments from the water district. Based on those comments, we're gonna be establishing everything already on set.
And electricity, the same, power needs are will be able to be met with.
Yeah, we're
Yes.
in pretty good shape. We're right next door to a substation.
Mhm.
All that high line comes from that station. That's the loop. Yeah, I got no problem there. The only other question I got, the proposed trailer park, is that gonna be permanent or transit?
The what now, sorry?
The trailer park, the 25-foot lots, the long skinny lots along 100,
Those are gonna be townhomes.
I don't know.
Yes.
You fooled me on that one.
Yeah, so those are
Well,
gonna
that's
be,
good. That-
Yeah, so the
that's better
idea-
than what I'd expected.
so we're looking to do, it's gonna be gated, within the gated subdivision. We're looking to do townhomes, possibly do a 3-level, which is gonna be the garage, living, and the, and of
Like
course.
zero lot line kind of thing.
No, I think we need to have, we're gonna answer that better than I will.
10
but I-
feet between the buildings?
I can't remember exactly what the feet are between, but I think,
What was the question?
the lot line, because we're not gonna roll again.
The townhomes, if it's a
The townhouse.
25-foot lot, it's a pretty skinny lot.
Mhm.
I was just wondering if it was a zero lot line.
Yeah, is there a lot line?
For the setback buildable
Side.
space side, yeah, I believe so. It's already stated there on under the general notes. Yeah, every lot is being stated as what is gonna be the setback for each and every one. So, I believe so. There's gonna be some.
Well, side setback for townhomes is 5 feet. So that's 10 feet on a 25-foot lot. Nets you a 15-foot wide home.
I don't have all the questions.
We only have, the front and rear. We don't have sides for it.
They'll all be one long.
Say that again.
We only have front and rear for it, which is the front would be 15 and rear as well.
So the way it's set up as of right now, it would be set up as a 0. We have to circle back in the event that the city has a different requirement, and of course, we'll have to step in. And then, of course, we just make the adjustments and we just shrink the town.
Well, that and it's the building materials. You know. As far as fire rating. And zero lot line is not a big problem as long as the material used is correct.
Well, it brings up a good point when you're talking about is, how many homes did you say this was?
As of right now, we have it set up as approximately 129.
Extra 129 homes. What are our provisions for a fire department for that much addition to our town? And right now, all we have is this volunteer fire department with hopes that somebody from Los Fresnos or Port Isabel might get here.
Some of our city fathers are gonna have to fund it.
All emergency response services.
Yeah.
Has there been any discussion with the town in regards to the traffic patterns and ingress and egress out of the development and how that will impact the traffic on Highway 100, 510, and then also the adjacent streets? Will there be a gated entrance from the street, or will it just be coming off of Highway 100?
No, so generally, the text also gets involved with the traffic counts comes into play. We're looking to do 75-foot right away, just looking at your plans, not staring at it. But kind of think of it this, we're right down the middle on Highway 100. So we're gonna have one major entrance with an island, so to speak, right down the middle. That's gonna be off of 100. And then we're gonna have off of 510, we're gonna have the entrance to the subdivision gated. And then you're still gonna have a second entrance Not the main entrance, but still a nice entrance aesthetically off of Mesquite. And that's gonna be a 50-foot right of way coming in off of Mesquite.
There aren't any plans for any green spaces in these lots, no like parks or anything, it's all gonna be residential.
The way we're looking at it right now, it's possibly the top. Yeah, here's the planning purposes.
I'm talking about lot 37, 2.64 acres.
Yeah, so I think that we're gonna use possibly some of that section. We're also thinking of taking advantage of this section here. So page 3, this section here, which is gonna be the drain, possibly doing, I'm thinking about doing maybe like a 6-foot bridge here and utilize this section here because it's about I don't know, I'm thinking about half an acre, maybe a little more than that. Maybe do something there as well. This section and then the top part.
Is that where those, our signs at, right?
Yes.
Is
Mhm.
that gonna be incorporated or?
What's that?
Is that gonna be incorporated or we have to move it?
Well, no, you're just doing it, yeah. Yes, but the sign does fall into the property.
And are we
Everybody
doing
get that? I'm
sidewalks
sorry.
on these roads?
I'm sorry.
Are there gonna be sidewalks on the roads next? on the roadways?
So my understanding is yes, I think that's a requirement. So the answer is yes, and my understanding is that we might also we're gonna have to have sidewalks up for 510. At least that's what I.
This text not requires you to put a right turn lane off of 100 into the subdivision. And also, I would suggest that there probably ought to be one going on Mesquite Road there too.
I think there is, right?
Well, I missed the very. first-
Right-hand turn lane
Oh, right-hand
off of
turn.
100
Gotcha.
into your road that goes in, your center road that goes into development.
Mhm.
And then also one that turns into Mesquite, which is gonna be feeding that development. That's a lot of traffic that's gonna be turning into that development.
Gotcha.
And you're at a 55-mile-an-hour speed zone there.
Right, you can.
And so I anticipate there being with that many people accessing this from just those 2 points, Mesquite and that center lane. Because I can about guarantee you that I don't think they're going to take the time to drive the speed limit on Mesquite to come down from 510 to get there to turn in. They're going to go around the traffic light where they can make a yield turn to the right and get to it a lot quicker.
Gotcha.
Otherwise,
That's a good point.
Increases traffic on Mesquite as well. I'd like to address the commercial properties if we can.
Mhm.
I would love to see instead of multifamily, commercial properties. Because this is prime location for commercial properties, much more so than we already have in our town. And so commercial enterprises, the types of commercial enterprises these locations could draw could certainly add to our tax base and thereby mitigate our property taxes on our residents in our town. And so I would love to see you have lots 1, 2, and 3. You said that we're going to be commercial.
Yes, that's already
And then
about
you said
5.758.
And then you said this other lot that you just, I guess that's supposed to be there at our town sign where you said might be commercial in that spot, right?
No, I
You
think
said at the corner of 100 and 510 was also commercial. I thought you said that.
no, so that would be, right now, we have it set up as multifamily. That might be an extension of townhome. We can leave it as of right now as a multifamily.
With a multifamily structure, you're proposing on lot 62, multi-level condo units or what style of multifamily is currently?
So right now, we don't have anything in concept or design. It's currently zoned already, as in the track is already zoned as a multifamily, so we're just leaving it as is for right now. We just don't know what kind of traction we're gonna get. Just also keep in mind that we'll be reaching out as well. I'll be reaching out to see what type of retail would be interested that we could potentially bring to the city. So as of right now, we don't have something set for that space. So back to your question or concern, that could potentially be a commercial spot, especially if we can attract the right retailer or restaurant, whatever it may be, depending on.
I'd like to see if Bucky's go in there to compete with that Stripes.
So believe it or not, Buc-ee's is actually working on, so Buc-ee's is working on a smaller version of their traditional concept. That is in the making. So we are reaching out to Buc-ee's and see that's a possibility.
I'm
They
tired
would not bring the
of,
original Buc-ee's, it would be their subgrade.
I'm tired of the convenience of paying at the pump, not being a convenience store, so I have to go in and get my receipt.
Gotcha.
And they actually do have those small Buc-ee's already.
What's that?
They actually already have that concept in place.
So the concept is
Yeah,
something that they're
I'll-
working on, yeah, so they're working on a smaller concept.
So they already got it.
No, I know,
I've
yeah,
already
so,
seen
yeah,
it.
yeah.
So I've been in one.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, I've been
that's what I meant to say, yeah.
Yeah, but that's-
So that's something that, I mean, again, up until tonight, I hadn't discussed it, but my understanding is, rumor had it that they had even looked at South by Drive. So it would be nice to see them here. But since I'm not there yet, I didn't, obviously want to mention that.
Well, I think you could probably get the mayor of Port Isabel to go along with you because once the new causeway goes through, and it will go through eventually, and the bypass turns on Buena Vista Road back down 100 and goes north, right straight up to the bypass, Port Isabel is going to become a dead town, except for Brownsville traffic to the island. And so that may draw traffic this way for that gas.
So I'm not saying it would be them, but they're definitely, there's definitely gonna be a
You're the
conversation.
developer, you talk to them, man.
That is one of the goals. So again, we don't know exactly what we're gonna do with that particular space. Right now, we don't have anything in concept or design or anything of that nature. On a true worst case, we would be able to extend. If you look at the townhomes, we can extend it further out on a needed basis. But that's just on a true worst case, depending on how the development is going. This is years out.
Owen, do we have any say whatsoever in their CCRs that they established for this development?
That's a question for Alan.
If we want to make a condition of approval, the inclusion of some requirement in CCR, that could be something that.
My concern is that this development is going to be the Highway 100 face of Laguna Vista.
I understand.
And so, you know, I'm very concerned about standards of construction and standards of appearance. Both of those are separate entities, okay? And so, and that comes down to what we were talking about as far as the fire issue, potential fire issue. And so there has to be some standards that it improves and advances our town.
Could you provide us with some of the addresses of other projects that you've done around here that we could go look at?
So this is gonna be our first project here in Laguna Vista. We've just recently contracted 2 properties in Brownsville. Most of our developments have been in Hidalgo County. That's just for me
In what county?
personally. Hidalgo County, yes. So we're looking to expand into the area. So we just contracted 2 more properties in Brownsville. This one, just like I was mentioning earlier, this was very unique because it's not gonna be our traditional 20-acre, 30-acre tract. You go in, curb gutter it, maximize the lots, sell the lots to builders and we're gone. This one just definitely requires a lot more attention. I think we'll make the point of, this is the face of, this particular project is the face of Laguna Vista. We also understand that this is obviously mixed use type of development, townhome, residential, possible multifamily, commercial. So this one's definitely a different project for us, in a good way. Yeah, we're definitely more excited about it, because it just requires a lot more versus our traditional, I think, against the other subdivisions, but You know,
And
it's
what's
all
your,
can cutting.
what's your kind of ideal timing that you'd like to see on the whole project of breaking ground and having construction?
We move as fast as we can move, just because of our debt service, like any company, to keep the economics straight. We'd like to move as fast as we can. Every city is different, so we just comply and work with the cities fast and as best as we can. It really depends on us as well as the city.
Are you intending on doing all of the infrastructure improvements prior to the start of construction for residences?
Yes, so that was discussed at one point, considering the size of the subdivision. We were anticipating a phase 1, 2, and 3. We're in a position today where the goal is to go ahead and do all the horizontal work all at one time. That way, we don't put the residents at a, sorry, we're still digging on this end, noise, etc. Go around through Mesquite, you can't come in through this way or that way. So the goal now is just go ahead and do the construction all at one time.
What arrangements are you putting in place for oversight of the infrastructure construction?
You mean in what sense?
Well, there's compaction testing required on plan.
Oh, okay.
So who's going to do that? Who is going to oversee the construction?
Okay, we're gonna be overseeing the construction as for right now. We're getting testings for the site, so we can know the water levels and all that, so we can meet the maximum requirements or the standards for developing a road and giving an insight of what's gonna be the requirements, buildable items that needs to be on that specific area. We're working on Terracon with right now, getting all the testing items with them.
So some of that area does it not. We have heavy rains, flood. And so therefore, is any of it classified as a wetlands at all?
No, so based on the current zoning, it is not zoned. It's B and C, if I'm not mistaken, it's split somewhere down the middle. So the zoning does not call for flooding. Based on the topography, the grading goes towards the drainage ditch, I guess you can say. So it's sloping in one direction. That's why ideally, that's the way we want to slope everything out. We're going to continue that pattern. The obvious, we still have to bring in dirt, recompact on a needed basis. Just keep in mind that the engineers that we work with also works alongside with the city engineer. So they tend to work hand in hand, and that's going to be the oversight.
Okay, so who's going to be responsible for?
Orlando Cruz.
Yes, that's the name that my president Cruz was. So he would be the responsible party working with the engineering team to make sure that everything's done accordingly.
So who's going to be responsible for maintaining that draining towards 100? There's a big ditch out there and it's not in very good shape right now. And you're planning on having all your runoff headed towards that ditch. Who's going to maintain that ditch to make sure that it keeps moving water?
No, I think that's the one we're working with the US
Commissioner
Army
Garza.
Corps.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the US
Commissioner
Army.
Garza's department.
I'm sorry.
That'd be Commissioner Garza's department.
Okay, but I know we had to reach out to the US Army Corps, touch base with them, just because in this case, we thought it was TxDOT, and I'm jumping maybe ahead of you here a second, but we thought it was TxDOT, but it's not TxDOT. There's a US Army Corps that we have to answer to, I guess you could say, for the drainage.
Yeah, because you're now looking at putting a crossover road right into your subdivision, right across the top of that ditch. So there's a lot of work that's got to happen there to make sure that.
Chances are they're gonna probably make us come in, clean it up, dig it out, maybe even widen it. I don't know. That's gonna be depending on them. Yeah,
Yeah.
or they're gonna understand the compaction or the how many, of course, they can see our plan, they're gonna see how much of an impact, I guess would be the word. And then they're gonna give us some suggestions or their guidelines, whatever it may
The
be.
reason I ask this question is because I don't want that ditch to become the responsibility of Laguna Vista. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And if they make you, because the Army Corps is big on any mitigation to any damages on lands or easements that they put in. Do you guys have kind of some lots set aside for any mitigation use that you'll need to go past that corridor?
We're gonna, like any other project, once we have a better understanding on what the requirements are, then we make adjustments. You know, right now, since we don't have all the answers of all the requirements, because every city is different. So generally what we do, we come in with our initial plans, and then once we get this kind of feedback, which is great, the more feedback we get, the better. Then at that point, we'll make modifications accordingly. And we read this.
I'm just kind of wondering about, have you done a project of 55 acres that's starting from scratch like this with no infrastructure in place, or is this the largest that you're embarking on now?
Also, especially we're working, this is one of the largest that we have working, we're currently working, but we have done others, like there are 10, 15, up to 25 acres tracks, up to 128 and 100 lots. So this one, like he said, it's more design detailed thing, and it's more special for everyone, I guess.
And you're capitalized enough to be able to handle the project?
Yes.
So it goes without saying,
That's
electricity
why
will
we-
be underground.
This is it?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say, that's why we decided to make the change of going ahead and ruling out the phase 1, 2, and 3. We just want to go ahead and, because of our capital, we're gonna make sure that we can just do the infrastructure as a whole and then absorb that debt service along the way.
So it goes without saying, electricity is going to be underground.
Yes,
And the other utilities have already been approached as well.
they've been approached during our feasibility stage, and then from now, of course, Sims Engineering will be working with them directly. They're also gonna have their guidelines.
Does Sings provide construction oversight services?
Construction oversight services?
Yes. You do.
They'll be overseeing it. Of course.
Somehow that strikes me as being somewhat of conflict of interest.
Well, Sims is the engineering, not the, I'm sorry, they're not, we're gonna bid it out. So the actual construction itself might be a different
I
company.
understand that
Oh, okay.
very clearly, but my question was, do you provide construction oversight services?
Oversight services, yeah, we usually do that because we want to plan ahead on making sure that the project needs to get built as required by everyone and by the construction of that set. So it is.
That's what I am suggesting, seems to be a conflict of interest. The development company is paying you to design the subdivision.
Mhm.
And then they're also paying you to oversee the construction of that subdivision. The infrastructure.
The infrastructure, yeah.
Well, we're supposed to get a brand new building inspector that's it. Keep putting an eye on things. Right? Have you gotten any applications?
No.
They're waiting on you, buddy.
We're working on another kind of alternative. Other communities are looking for building inspectors and we're no one's.
Nobody wants to work. I wonder why that is.
Questions?
I'm good.
I guess what I'd really like to see, whatever we plan on moving forward, is I know that it's kind of up in the air and we're very preliminary, but to me, it's very important to see a broken down timeline of the project, because you can't really do any construction or any permitting or talk to anybody without ABC in some kind of order. So I think I'd really like to see that, if that's possible at some point.
Yeah, we can definitely work on a timeline. Just looking at it from experience from I guess from other cities. From the time that we submit our preliminary, we used to see an average of about maybe 3 or 4 months, give or take. That has changed a bit, just because of the growth everywhere. So we're seeing now an average of maybe 5 to 6 months. So really, again, it all depends on how fast we can move together. So if we can get final approvals within the 4 months, our goal is to go to bidding right after that. Generally, bidding takes about 2 to 3 weeks, depending. And then after that, we award the bid. 30 days after, generally we start. So best case could be maybe 6 months that we start scraping. I guess you can look at it that way. Hoping that worst case won't be more than 8 months. Yeah. But I'll still give you something in writing. I just kind of wanted to at least kind of give you a heads up on to answer your question.
We can get some bids from Flossner.
Well, we used to do about 4 bids. Lately, we've been having to go up to maybe 8 to 10. And the reason for that is because there's just so much work. So not every contractor is providing a bid nowadays. So 2 years ago, we had this conversation. We submitted we sent out 4 bids, 4 bids come back. Now we send out maybe 6, 2 to 3 bids might come back. So that has changed. Just like you were saying, it's hard to find help. The same thing is happening with engineers, architects, all the construction. That's kind of what's delaying a lot of everything.
Sure.
But other than that, right, again, this is the preliminary, it's the beginning of the project. Very open, as you can tell, to try to answer any questions we may have. We don't have the answers. We're gonna get the answers. The goal is to do it right. That's obviously the goal. We'll be working together. You'll probably see us again. I'm sure that after this meeting, there'll be even more questions. I know that we still have to meet, or in this case, Sam, Sam's Engineering will still have a meeting or initial meeting with the city engineer. I'm sure that engineer is also going to have specific questions for us that say we'll have to go back and address. So we'll take these notes, the engineering's notes, and then we'll have to come back with something slightly different. So it really depends on the city.
And then one other question, some communities have a requirement for developers to set aside a certain percentage of all of the development costs for community enhancements, community enrichment projects, like percent for arts or percent for green spaces or additional things. Is that something you've run into in the past, and is it something we could talk?
Yeah, so generally it's a green space. It's a certain percentage. It's normally what the cities require. Every city is different, and it's going to be more specific also to the project.
This is separate than green space is required by planning the zoning, but percentage of the costs that would go into a fund to help with just community-wide improvements or enhancements.
Okay.
Or art on place, or we can get you some more information about that, but it just,
Okay.
Could be the, funds to help link even further the sidewalks up so that it makes it a more pedestrian-friendly corridor from the ecotourism center to the center of Laguna Vista, something like that. I mean,
Gotcha.
so just something that other communities have done. Sometimes it's just for art projects, sometimes it's for other kinds of quality of life enhancements for communities.
Yeah, so I mean, that's something that, so the question has been brought up. SMS and I've had that conversation. I understand the question. We don't have a certain figure in mind, just because, again, this is very preliminary at this point. I think even if, depending on the dollar amount, we do have of course, our contingencies as well. Contingencies tend to absorb some of that. So I guess somewhat the answer would be yes. At the same time, of course, depending on what it is.
Also with this is not with the basic of it, but they want the input, as you talked to the mayor about naming the streets. They want to use birds, and because we're a nature-based community. And so they're looking for an ideal name for the subdivision also. I mean, right now it's called Laguna Vista Square, but
Yeah, the
something
name
more-
that's
more
yeah, that's
fitting
not
with
that's
nature.
not the name
It's
yet.
not written in stone.
Yeah, no, that's not the name yet. We
Not
didn't name for the sake of submitting.
Chachalaca.
Yeah, so again, when I say you as in here in the room, another meetings that we've had, the city much better than, of course, than we do. I do not live here. Like I said, I hopefully have a property for myself, but Again, any feedback we can get, this was unique in a good way. We are very excited about it, so we definitely welcome some feedback. Again, other subdivisions, a little bit more straight to the point, so any feedback would be appreciated.
I do have one more question. Being that this is going to be a gated community, correct?
Yes.
What kind of structure are you going to have all the way around this community?
That's also still in the, in talks, I guess you can say, with the partners. We don't have an exact answer yet, but we are definitely working on it. Don't have that answer yet, just because it's still something that we're discussing on one of our last meetings.
I certainly hope it's not what's down there on Highway 100 where they got those multicolored homes at.
I would
That is-
encourage your development group to come up with something very creative and open and not looking like, you know, a fort or a penitentiary.
Got it.
That's not the impression that we would like to see on this town as you size up. It's just, I already don't like the massive wall that's down here across the street from it. So
Okay.
just saying,
Bridgeview
But
or Paradise Cove.
Paradise Cove.
is that safe to say? for
They've done
everybody?
well
You get a good idea?
to pretty it up like they have, but it's still a wall.
Is it safe to say that we all feel about that same way roughly?
Yeah.
I think it should have-
The reason why I'm asking, like, again, I'm always open.
I know it's a
to
gated
listen.
community and they're gonna want some, a certain amount of security and everything, but some kind of step outside the box thinking about it type thing.
I hear there's some sections of the wall available now.
What's that? I'm sorry. I hear
There's
you.
some sections of a wall available now.
We have thought about it, and the reason for that, just because of, I guess, nature, I guess, is kind of the idea. So we have thrown around some ideas, we really have. Where it'd be gated, maybe the back, we haven't decided if we go vertical, horizontal, whichever it may be. Kind of to be able to see through, so to speak, so it doesn't look like you mentioned, but we kind of tabled it the last time. We just, again, we waited, needed to get to this step first. Yeah, so there's still a lot for us to discuss, and I'm sure that after this meeting and the next meeting with the engineer, we're gonna still have a lot more to discuss. So those are gonna be just, that's just, as we're discussing them.
Yeah, and we had they had set up meetings with all the committees because they wanted to introduce themselves to the library board, the CDC, the all, you know, Board of Adjustments. So they get the input and say that we're here to work with the community, not that they're just gonna build it. They have to build it.
Yeah.
That's a good.
I mean, that's the idea. Generally, when I'm involved in any project, I like to say it kind of changes things a little bit for the simple reason that generally it's just gonna be the owner, investor, so to speak, with the investor mindset and the engineering team. Nothing against that setup, but it becomes very straightforward and it's 100% economics. This meeting would probably go a little different if that was the setup. And for both sides, I'm sure that you would approach it completely different. And then the person on this side would approach it very different. So obviously me being in the middle, that and being part of it as the project manager changes a lot of things. Because we take a lot of whatever you say into consideration, which is not, again, not commonly done when we're developing in other areas. No, it's
I did
it's
several
all economics.
economics, and we didn't do anything like that. We just plowed ground.
That's, we took a slightly different approach in other
Yeah, no,
subdivisions I've done, yes.
that's good, man. Your demeanor is good.
Exciting project.
I'm sorry.
It's an
No, I
exciting
was just
project.
asking the chairman if we could go east now.
It's very exciting. I know it's hard to share the excitement sometimes, guys. I just, of course, want to make sure I handle all the questions correctly, and I remember as much as I can. As you can tell, I was trying to write some notes. After this, I'm definitely gonna take 5-10 minutes and write all my notes as fast as I can, so that way I don't miss out. I may miss out on something. As a group, we may miss out on something. I do communicate a lot with Mr. Mesa on what's going on with the city, or maybe a response or meeting, so feel free to I can give you my information. I can give you my direct number, my direct email address. You can direct questions to him. However, if it's engineering, just keep in mind that we obviously do have an engineering company. So there's certain questions that I just will not be able to answer. So we would have to pass them on.
And I'm certainly not adverse to driving over to Hidalgo County to look at some of the other ones, so I really would like to be able to just put my eyes on one of the other projects, and look and feel of it.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Any other questions?
Right, thank you.
Am I gonna make the motion to adjourn?
Thank you.
You don't need my vote.
Do we
either.
have to make a motion on C, that's consideration and action? Yeah.
Well, we had this consideration action, I think we were under the impression that this was an application for the replat, but it seems like it's real preliminary, we don't have that yet.
Without an
So
application.
there'll be no action on that, there doesn't need to be a motion on the tables. We need to have the actual application come in before we can take action on it.
Well,
So,
I'm sorry to interrupt. We do have the application,
okay,
but I think that city engineer had not looked at the
Right.
plan, and that changes.
okay, so either way, it's not right for.
That is correct. Yeah, because we still need his comments.
Well,
Sorry.
if that's it, then I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Oh, here a second.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for your time.
Yeah.